Elias Eli Whitaker, a 40-year-old arborist and jolly dad to his two tow-headed tots, 5-year-old Lila and 8-year-old Theo, had festooned his life in Silver Spruce subdivision 6 years prior. Lured by the lot's legacy spruce, a 20-foot native Colorado blue that whispered wind chimes in summer breezes. His timber-frame cabin, with its wood-beamed ceilings and hearth roaring like a storyteller, doubled as a holiday haven. Eli sourced sustainable firs from his consultancy gig with the state's Forestry Service, where he championed urban tree health and wildfire resilience. Christmas crowned the Whitaker calendar. The family felled their annual noble fir from a certified farm, Theo etching runes into the bark with non-toxic markers, Lila draping it in heirloom baubles, crystal snowflakes from Eli's gran, hand-painted elves from Theo's art class. The tree, a 12-foot titan hauled home by Eli's truck and guy-wired for stability, anchored their living room ritual. Popcorn strings threaded to carols, gingerbread villages rising like mini metropolises, and a star summit that twinkled through the bay window, beckoning wanderers with its warm aura. Eli's wife, Nora, a baker with a knack for nutcrackers, chronicled the cheer and Instagrams that snowballed into local lore, their tree a beacon for Yulefest strollers. The HOA's bah humbug boss was Beatrice B. Quill, a 57-year-old ex-florist turned floral fascist, with a bob of ash blonde streaked silver like hoarfrost, cheater glasses chained to a pinecone pendant, and an SUV she christened her Sprig Stalker, outfitted with a roof rack for confiscated conifers, and a dash-mounted fine printer. B bushwhacked the blocks like a Yuletide Yeti, bowing fines for branch overreach, home on 25 eyes per limb, needle nuisance, 90, or Stan San's HOA-approved skirts, 110. Her charter, a 250-page pine pulp pamphlet, pruned pleasure with precision, but her true timber trade was treachery. She'd trimmed $150,000 from Yule reserves, grafting it onto ghost grafts for her boutique Evergreen elegance, peddling pilfered poinsettias and pocketing proceeds while press-ganging purveyors for Yulefest payoffs. B's beef with Eli burgeoned from his forest Fiasco fir, eclipsing her refined, 4-foot tabletop, bare branches in a crystal vase. Your arboreal abomination blocks the boulevard vista. She'd barked at a bulb inspection, stapling summons to his stockings hung by the chimney with care. The chop fell on Christmas Adam, Eve's Eve, as vespers vespersed from the chapel spire, and the first flakes frolicked. Eli, Theo, and Lila were limb-deep in tinsel, Nora piping icing on gingerbread eaves, when B's SUV skidded to a spruce-scented stop. Mr. Whitaker, this coniferous catastrophe contravenes Canon 9.3. Fell it forthwith or forfeit $800 in fees. She frosted, her glasses fogging on the chill glass. Eli, ladder leaning to affix the star, descended with diplomat's decorum. B, it's a 12-footer, structurally sound, and eco-sourced. Fire marshal cleared it, and it's off-street view. Lila, clutching a silver bell, tinkled. Our tree sings songs, Miss B. But B's brows beetled like barren branches, her mouth a miserly line. Songs? This is sophistication, not a sylvan sideshow. Yield or Yuletide yowls. She vamoosed, exhaust-etching ephemeral elves in the snow, but Eli espied the axe grind in her glare. As the clock cuckooed midnight mass, B's barbarity branched bare. Eli's arbor cams, dendro sensors camouflaged as pine cones, pulsed with peril, piping her plunder in pinpoint pixels, swaddled in a shearling coat with a balaclava for branchage. B backtracked, her SUV's bed burdened with booty, loppers lopping like lightning, a battery chainsaw churning cold, and arborist straps for scaling. She lopped the lower limbs first, the noble fir shuddering as needles needled the snow like confetti from a catastrophe. Then, ascending with straps, she revved the saw on the trunk, whir whine echoing like a wraith's wail, bark buckling as the blade bit deep. The tree teetered, then toppled in a thunderous tangle, crashing through the bay window with a crystalline crash, shards scattering like shattered stars, baubles bursting in a bauble blitz. On feed, B's balaclava slipped, her snarl surfacing. No more needle nightmare. Prune the prodigal. She hastened a hasty hack job, sawing the stump to stubs, then scarpered as shards settled, oblivious to the window's wireframe triggering Eli's silent alarm. Theo and Lila, roused by the rumble, rushed in rubicund-cheeked, wailing over the fallen father tree as Eli and Nora navigated the needle-strewn naufragia, their knoll nuked. Eli's sap surged with ire, but his arborist's axe angled acute. As a certified forester with publications on conifer conservation, he knew trees tallied tails, sap samples sequenced for saw signatures, ring counts corroborating cuts, and geotags in his garland grid geolocating the gore. He harvested the havoc. Loop lens logging lopper lacerations, unique carbide teeth from bees confiscated, kit, and pollen prints pinning her posy perfume. But the root revelation? Bee's vigilance upgrade had networked neighborhood nodes to HOA hubs she helmed, a vulnerability Eli exploited with a rootkit routine, basic bash bypass via her Bee Branches 2025 passcode. Extracts exposed not merely the mauling, but her ledger, $150,000 lopped from levies to laundered lots, manifests for missing mistletoe that misted into her shop's tills. He hewed a hasty hamlet, a firefighter forester for felled forensics, Nora's neighbor net for narrative nods, and a state sylviculturist from a symposium for sap science. Christmas cracked with a cardinal dawn, Yulefest yammering in the green, wassail wells warming, wreath tosses whirling, when Bee's bow-breaking backfired. Eli escalated the evergreen mic amid "Oh Come All Ye Faithful" fugues, the throng in tartan and toques tuning in. Kin, our HOA's been shearing our spirits sharper than any saw. Yesternight our sylvan sentinel savaged my family's fur, not for fortitude but fury. He holographed the horror on Yulefest as yonder Yule log screen. Bee's balaclava, its brutality and brutalizing brilliance, loppers lancing, saw snarling, her unmasked mug mugging as mahogany misted. Whispers whipped to a whirlwind as he unearthed the uproot, Eli's evergreen excelsiors etching embezzlement, vectors from vaults to Bee's boutique, then to boutique banks. 150K harvested from our holly hoard, while she hacked us for holly berries. Festivities fractured, a granny gouged for bow blockade, a paterfamilias penalized $350 for a towering tannenbaum, a harried harpist hounded $550 for sprig sprawl. "Sap-bay," squawked a sprite in sprite suit, her squad squalling with spruce switches. Bee barreled the bandstand, SUV keys clinking like chains in a charivari, her megaphone mangling mirth, myth, malarkey from a branch-brained brigand. "I'll litigate like lightning, loose the lawmen." But Fort Collins' finest flanked the fringes, squad cars slaying with strobes a strobe, schooled by Eli's evergreen evidence, streams on spruce sticks, sap swabs and sachets, hub hauls and hard drives. The fire forester, festooned with a festive fur fascinator, fastened fetters on Bee by the blue spruce. Timber trespass, arbor arson, grand larceny, season's shearing, sister. Your saw cereals on your ShopRite card. SUV's sat-nav snitched the stump. As Yulelings yowled on YouTubes, the forestry fiduciary, in field fatigues fringed with faux fur, forwarded. Cultivar carnage on Crown land proxies, $15,000 fine for fur felony, plus provenance payback. Bee's bowl broke. Boutiques shuttered, boodle blocked. A bargain basement bargain bagging 20 months monitored mending, 750 hours sprig stewardship at the collective cops, and $180,000 restitution, ramified to restitutionaries and a Yulefest Youth Arbor Fund. Silver spruce sprouted from its stumps. The HOA hewed in a holly huddle, 89% axe, with proxies on pine placards, sprouting the Spruce Synod Collective, stewarded by Eli and Nora. They retrimmed Yulefest, jettisoning Bee's refined restraints for a resplendent revel, catapulted candy canes, colossal creche contests, and the Tots Bow Brigade, battling for boldest bauble builds. Levees leafed to largesse. Eli's evergreen expanded to a communal coppice, provisioning parks with potted pines and pioneering fur folklore forays for fledglings on sustainable stands. Nora nurtured knoll narrative nooks, narrating Bee's bygone bylaws as bedtime bogeymen. Neighbors needled no more. The granny grafted garland galleries. The paterfamilia paraded his tannenbaum troop. The harpist harmonized her hedge in holly harmonies. A startling stump story sprouted in the shavings. Amid the mulched majesty, Eli's endoscope ensnared an earring, not his but Bee's. She'd secreted sap sensors in gifted garlands to gauge growth grievances, but one wedged in his fur from a Yulefest yarn swap. The earring's earpiece encoded eavesdrops, exchanges extorting etymologists, epistles engineering levy leaks to a league of local launderers. Eli emailed it to the FBI's forestry fraud force, felling the festive fir fiddle, a frontier-wide foray fingering bees' bedfellows, bylines baying, spruce sleuth snares HOA harvester, 750K holiday heist hewn, Lila and Theo, terming it the Tannenbaum takedown, tableaued the tale in tree trunk tomes at the collective's christening, popping Cub Scout saps in a family-felled fear finale. As Epiphany emblazoned with endless evergreens a Yule later, Eli erected an exemplar beside the brood under the boreal blanket, Nora notating nutcracker notes on the needles. Bee's branch-breaking bite had blunted to bondservant bleakness, her sprig stalker SUV now a sleigh for Yulefest youth, hauling holly for the hordes she once harvested. Silver spruce sustained spry sparkle, boughs bowing free from bylaw brambles, breathing through the bliss. Branch boldly, or get barked by the bowl you begrudge. Eli's arbor arched, an archangel for ailing arbors and aching assemblies. At a station that one smashed spruce could spawn a sylvan surge where Yules were for yipping, not yanking, and every estate echoed with unbound bough.